It is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
It was an announcement that took many by surprise.
There is no alternative to the two-state solution. There is no plan B.
President Donald Trump's move, which unleashed protest, was a reversal of long-standing U.S. policy that Jerusalem's status must be decided by negotiation. It was also an example of how he's broken with former President Barack Obama.
This is the nature of the Trump presidency. It's not conventional. It's not always policy-based.
On North Korea, the Iran nuclear deal, the Paris climate change agreement, Trump has moved the U.S. in a different direction.
You've seen that very clearly with regard to the war against ISIS in both Iraq and Syria. And ISIS has nearly been wiped out, actually, in both of those countries. You're seeing that with regard to North Korea, where there's a much more proactive, aggressive approach. Also on the Iran front as well.
While this forceful approach is what Trump promised his supporters, some critics say complicated situations like Iran require the diplomatic tool.
In the 70 years since the end of World War II, America has relied on two key tools for its security and standing in the world. One has been the strength of its diplomacy, and the other has been the strength of its armed forces. You're taking one of the tools off the table, the diplomatic tools, without really putting a well thought through and crafted policy as an alternative.
The United States will withdraw.
President Trump's other big break with his predecessor was in June, when he withdrew from the Paris climate change agreement, making the United States the only country to reject the global pact.
To move away from the Paris Accord on climate without anything to replace it is, a step back 10 years rather than looking at where we're going to be as a society and as an economy 10 years plus.
Despite this move, other observers say Trump has made fewer foreign policy changes than many expected based on his campaign rhetoric.
This is actually quite a traditional U.S. foreign policy approach, in that President Trump clearly rejects the idea of isolationism. Many analysts thought that this administration would be isolationist, that you would see America turning away from the world. You haven't seen that at all.
Disruptor or traditionalist, Trump's foreign policy moves are likely to keep adversaries and allies vigilant and even wary as the president enters his second year in office. Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Washington.